The most common color of warning signs is A. Red, B. Yellow, C. Green, D. Blue. B. Yellow. Most warning signs are diamond-shaped and yellow with black markings. These signs warn drivers about unexpected conditions that may not be readily apparent. If you are turning onto a street with more than one lane traveling in your direction, you should A. Turn into the lane closest to your previous lane. B. Turn into the lane marked with an arrow. C. Turn into the middle lane. D. Turn into any lane. A. Turn into the lane closest to your previous lane. When turning onto a street with more than one lane moving in the direction that you are traveling, turn into the lane that is closest to your previous lane. Do not change lanes when turning. This sign means A. A divided highway ends. B. A one-way street begins. C. A one-way street ends. D. A divided highway begins. D. A divided highway begins. This sign indicates that the road ahead becomes a divided highway. Keep to the right of the divider or median. You are waiting in the intersection to complete a left turn. You should A. Signal and keep your wheels turned to the left. B. Signal and keep your wheels straight. C. Flash your headlights so drivers will let you through. D. Drive around the rear of a car if it blocks you. B. Signal and keep your wheels straight. You must always signal before turning or changing lanes. You should keep your wheels straight while waiting to make a left turn. If another vehicle hits you from behind, this ensures that you will not be pushed into oncoming traffic.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
What may help drivers conserve gasoline? A. Sitting in their driveways with their cars running. B. Accelerating quickly. C. Slowing down gradually. D. Braking abruptly. C. Slowing down gradually. Every time you have to stop quickly, it takes time and fuel to accelerate and get your vehicle back up to the speed of traffic. Drivers who look far ahead of their vehicles can slow down gradually or change lanes to avoid unnecessary braking, leading to better gas mileage. Which of the following recommendations does not promote safe night driving? A. Keep your windshield clean. B. Be aware that tinted windows reduce visibility in the dark. C. Carry a flashlight in your vehicle. D. Look into the headlights of oncoming vehicles. D. Look into the headlights of oncoming vehicles. If you look into the headlights of an oncoming vehicle, the pupil of your eye will contract. After the oncoming vehicle has passed, there will be an interval of time during which the pupil must readjust to the less intense light. During this recovery period, you are virtually driving blind. To avoid collisions with vehicles in your blind spots, you should A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. B. Adjust your rearview mirrors every few minutes. C. Honk your horn right before turning or changing lanes. D. None of the above. A. Quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. Before turning or changing lanes, turn your head and glance over your shoulder in the direction of your move to see if your blind spot is clear. Never rely on your mirrors alone. If you become stranded in a snowstorm, the best thing to do is to A. Get out of the car and go for help. B. Lay down in your car and go to sleep. C. Walk into the road and get the attention of other drivers. D. Stay in the car, as you are most likely to be found when you stay in your vehicle. D. Stay in the car, as you are most likely to be found when you stay in your vehicle. If you become stranded in a snowstorm, the best thing to do is stay in your car and wait for help. You are most likely to be found if you don't leave your vehicle. Additionally, it may be unsafe to walk around outside in a snowstorm. If you see this sign, you A. Must not pass another vehicle. B. May pass a slow-moving vehicle if you can do so quickly. C. May pass if you know the road ahead. D. May pass, but only at night. A. Must not pass another vehicle. Regulatory signs are white, rectangular signs with black markings. Drivers must obey the instructions posted on all regulatory signs. Where this sign is posted, it is prohibited for drivers to pass one another. When faced with an oncoming car to the left and a bicyclist to the right, you should A. Pull onto the shoulder. B. Split the difference. C. Let the car pass and then pass the bike. D. Pass the bike quickly. C. Let the car pass and then pass the bike. When there is more than one potential hazard on the road, you should ensure that you only have to deal with one of them at a time. For example, when there is a bicyclist on the right that you want to pass and an oncoming car to the left, you should not try to squeeze between both at the same time. Instead, let the oncoming car pass, and then pass the bicyclist. This sign means A. U-turns are prohibited. B. U-turns are permitted. C. Winding road ahead. D. Sharp left turn ahead. A. U-turns are prohibited. A regulatory sign displaying a red circle with a red slash through the middle indicates that a specific action is prohibited. U-turns are not permitted where this sign is posted. A double solid yellow line down the center of a two-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. Yellow lines are used to separate traffic moving in opposite directions. Solid lines indicate that drivers are not permitted to pass. You may cross solid yellow lines. A. To pass traffic moving in the same direction. B. During daylight hours only. C. At any time. D. When making turns. D. When making turns. As a general rule, broken traffic lines may be crossed but solid lines may not. Solid yellow lines may be crossed only when the driver is making a turn. When approaching a roundabout, you should always A. Increase your speed. B. Maintain your speed. C. Come to a complete stop. D. Decrease your speed. D. Decrease your speed. When approaching a roundabout, slow down. A roundabout is designed to be driven at a low speed. Fill in the blank. Greatly increase stopping distances and severity of crashes. A. High speeds. B. Slow speeds. C. Night drives. D. Uphill inclines. A. High speeds. High speeds greatly increase stopping distances and severity of crashes. The faster you drive, the greater the impact or striking power of your vehicle, should you be involved in a collision. This sign means A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. B. Work crew ahead. C. Side road. D. Playground ahead. A. Sharp turn ahead, slow down. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that there is an upcoming sharp turn and that they should lower their speed accordingly. Stress can affect your driving by A. Lowering your ability to focus on driving. B. Decreasing your chances of an accident. C. Causing you to fall asleep at the wheel. D. Making you more aware of others around you. A. Lowering your ability to focus on driving. Emotions can have a great effect on your driving ability. You may not be able to drive well if you are overly worried, excited, afraid, angry, or sad. Stress can lessen your concentration on the task of driving. It is better to wait to drive than to risk driving while you are emotionally unstable. Certain highway signs contain information about hazardous conditions. Such signs are known as A. Regulatory signs. B. Warning signs. C. Information signs. D. Guide signs. B. Warning signs. Warning signs advise drivers of potentially hazardous conditions. For your own safety, obey warning signs. Disregarding the information provided by a warning sign may result in an accident due to your negligence. Bicycles on the road? A. Must always yield the right of way to motor vehicles. B. Do not follow specific rules of the road. C. Are considered vehicles with the same rights and responsibilities as motor vehicles. D. Are nothing to worry about. Crossbuck signs indicate A. Railroad crossings. B. School zones. C. No passing zones. D. Hospitals. A. Railroad crossings. Crossbuck signs tell drivers to yield to trains at a railroad crossing. Drivers should not try to outdrive a train. Which of the following about winter driving is not true? A. Winter is the most difficult driving season. B. Checking your vehicle's antifreeze and windshield washer fluid levels is especially important during the winter. C. Using cruise control in winter weather is a safe thing to do. D. It is best to use snow tires on your vehicle. C. Using cruise control in winter weather is a safe thing to do. You should not use cruise control on snow, in rain, in fog, or under similar hazardous conditions. Winter is the most difficult driving season and requires extra caution from drivers. It is important to consistently check your antifreeze and windshield washer fluid levels. Using snow tires can increase a vehicle's traction on the surface of slippery roads. What is the appropriate action to take when approaching a railroad crossing that does not have signals to direct traffic? A. Always bring the car to a complete stop. B. Slow down and be prepared to stop. C. All railroad crossings have signals so you will never encounter this situation. D. Increase your speed to get across the tracks quickly. B. Slow down and be prepared to stop. When approaching an unmarked railroad crossing, slow down and be prepared to stop. Before you cross, be sure that no trains are approaching from either direction on any track. If you see or hear a train coming, stop at a safe distance from the nearest track and wait to proceed until after the train passes. Drowsy drivers. A. Should drink strong black coffee to stay awake. B. Can drive so poorly that they may appear to be drunk. C. Can stay alert by opening a window and turning up the radio. D. Are usually only older drivers. B. Can drive so poorly that they may appear to be drunk. Drowsiness can make people drive so poorly that they appear to be drunk. Opening a window, turning on the radio, or drinking coffee is not enough to make a drowsy driver alert to roadway hazards. At a four-way stop. A. The driver to arrive first has the right of way. B. The driver to arrive last has the right of way. C. One driver should continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should wave the other drivers ahead. A. The driver to arrive first has the right of way. At four-way stops, traffic from all four directions must stop. The first vehicle to reach the intersection should move forward first. If two vehicles reach the intersection at the same time, the driver on the left yields to the driver on the right. When driving under icy or snowy conditions, which driving technique will help drivers avoid crashes? A. Add extra weight to their vehicles to improve traction. B. Get off the highways as quickly as possible. C. Engage the four-wheel drive on their vehicles. D. Reduce their speed and increase their following distance. D. Reduce their speed and increase their following distance. Reduce your speed when roads are snow-covered or icy. Doing this and increasing your following distance are the most important techniques for avoiding crashes under snowy or icy conditions.